Let me start with this. If you've ever asked AI to help you with something in your business and what you got back felt generic, off, or just not quite right, that was not an AI problem. That was a clarity problem. Because if you don't give the AI context, it will give you back generic output every time. And then we say, this doesn't work. But in reality, we never trained it to know who we are and understand how we work. Right now, most small businesses are doing exactly that. They're asking for results without ever defining the starting point. I'm Bridget C. Lewis, and this is AI in HR, the RockstarBoss15. We take one real HR challenge that small businesses deal with every day, and we solve it with practical structure that they can actually use. No theory, no extra tools to manage, just better systems for people, training, and benefits. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to answer this one question. Can AI support how we run our business, not just create content? Today, you're going to see exactly how that starts. So by the end of this session, you will have a clear way to give AI the context it actually needs, a structure you can reuse across people, training, and benefits challenges, and a working prompt you can use immediately in your business. And instead of starting from scratch every time, you'll have a consistent starting point. This is not about learning AI. This is about making AI useful. So let me make this real. I was working with a small assisted living provider recently. They have about 18 employees. They have a strong team and things are super busy. They had just hired a new CNA who would be starting work on Monday. The director needed to send her a welcome email. Simple enough, right? Except it wasn't getting done because between schedules and coverage and call outs and residents, that simple email kept getting pushed. So here we are now. It's Friday afternoon. It's not done. And so she quickly has to pull something together. And what goes out? Well, something quick, something generic, something that doesn't reflect the culture that they've actually worked hard to build. Now, here's the critical truth. That email is the first impression of the job. And so when that first impression is off brand, everything that follows starts from the wrong place. Now, here's where this usually goes. We look at the situation and we say, we just need to be faster. We need to be more responsive. Or some of us say, maybe we should just use AI to help. So we go straight to the tool. We open up ChatGPT and we type something like, write a welcome email for a new CNA. And what we get back is something that technically works, but doesn't really sound like us, doesn't reflect how we operate. And now we're editing and rewriting and starting over. That's a gap. It's technically right, but culturally off. And now we're doing extra work to fix something that should have been right the first time. So let's say this out loud. AI does not understand your culture. It can't unless you define it. And when you don't define it, it fills in the gaps with something generic. That's why it doesn't sound like you. Now, here's where clarity comes in. Clarity is how you teach AI who you are. Clarity is how you make your culture visible in the output. If your inputs are unclear, your outputs will be inconsistent. And if every manager is starting from scratch, every result will be different. So today, let's set that starting point because this one step changes everything. Prompting is an art. And as more businesses try to use AI in their day-to-day operations, we realize something. Most people are just guessing, and many don't realize how much these tools can actually do when they're given the right structure. So they start by typing in something basic, hoping that it works, and then rewriting, adjusting, and starting over when it doesn't. And before long, they have quadrupled their work, and they end up feeling like, I should have just done this myself to begin with. So instead of guessing, we built something different. We created our own piece of art. It's called the Rockstar Boss HR Snapshot. And this is the foundation of how we build small business support prompts. This is the foundation of everything we're going to do in this series. So we're starting here in Word, not because it's fancy, but because it's clear. This allows us to build the prompt in a way that's easy to read, easy to follow, and easy to adjust, because our prompts are detailed, and detailed prompts deserve room to be built properly. Trying to build this inside a prompt box, it's too tight. You lose structure, you skip steps, and that's where things start to break down. So this is the process. We build the prompt in a document, we review it for clarity and structure, then we move it into the AI tool. And we do this every time because consistency drives what we get back. So the HR snapshot has 3 parts. Each part does a specific job. If one part is missing, the output breaks. So let's review these parts. Part 1, this is the company profile, and this tells the AI who you are. This is where you define your business, not in a polished way, but in a real operational way. So you talk about the industry, the team size, the key roles, what the work actually feels like, your tone. Because if you don't do this, the AI will fill in the blanks, and it will not always fill them in the way you would. Then part 2 is the operational challenge. This is what's really happening inside the business. This is the most important part, and this is where most businesses miss it. They jump straight to create me something, but they skip what's actually happening inside the business. Where are things inconsistent? Where are managers doing things differently? Where is communication breaking down? What constraints are you dealing with? Because the AI can only solve the problem you describe. If the problem is vague, then guess what? The solution will be too. And then part 3 is the desired output, what you need and how it should work. This is where you control the quality, not just what you want, but how it should be structured and used. You want it clear, you want it structured, and you want it ready to use in the real world. Now, this is where the WLS power move lives. We built it directly into the desired output. And this is what it is. We tell the AI, do not finalize things yet. Ask 3 to 5 clarifying questions first. This is not a 4th part. This lives inside part 3 because better questions lead to better outputs. It forces the AI to think with you, not just respond to you. The HR snapshot is the foundation of the entire series, and this is the session people may need to come back to if they want to understand how the HR snapshot works. So now that we've built the prompt, it's time to run it. So we're going to take it over to ChatGPT to walk through it. But you can use any AI platform you prefer. What matters is the structure of the prompt, not which platform you use to run it. Now, here's exactly what we do. We copy the entire document and we paste it into the prompt box. And then we run it. No shortcuts, no summarizing, no rewriting inside the AI platform. The full structure goes in. That's important because the structure is what drives the quality of the output. And as it generates, I want you to watch for 3 things. You're going to see the clarifying questions, and that's intentional. We built that into the prompt. Even though we're not stopping to answer them live, they are showing you exactly what the AI will need to get even more precise with its output. In real time, you will want to answer these questions and feed them back to sharpen the output. Now I want you to notice the tone. Listen to how closely this sounds to a real workplace. This should feel familiar, like something you would actually say. That's coming from the clarity that you built into the snapshot. It's not robotic, nor is it overly polished. It's practical. It is definitely something a manager could actually send. Third, I want you to look at the structure. This isn't just a paragraph like a research paper. It's organized, it's usable, it's something that you can take and put into action immediately. And that's the difference. We didn't just get an answer, we got something that is operational. This is what structured input produces. In practice, this is where it gets even stronger. Take those questions, answer them, and run it again. And that's where it becomes even more powerful because now you're not starting over, you're refining it. And that's the shift. You're no longer fixing the output, you're shaping it. And best of all, AI has not taken over. It's not doing your job for you, it's supporting you because now it understands your business. Now, let's tie this together because this is where this either becomes a tool you try or a system you actually use. A few guardrails as you start using this. First, don't skip the build. If you rush the input, you will pay for it in the output. That's where frustration will begin. Second, be specific about what's actually happening. General problems create generic answers. Operational detail creates usable results. And third, keep the structure intact. If one part is missing, the output breaks. And when the output breaks, trust in the tool will break with it. Now, let's talk about what this is actually changing inside the business. You'll see consistency begin to increase. You'll see managers who are no longer making things up as they go. You'll see communication stabilizing. Employees are receiving the same message the same way every time. That's where things start to feel different inside the business, and your culture becomes visible in what gets produced. Not because you said it once, but because it's built into how you operate. You move from reactive HR to structured HR, and structured HR scales. That's where this starts to compound. It reduces rework, it reduces confusion, and it gives your managers a clear starting point every time. That's where this starts to change how the business runs. So today we built the foundation, not just a prompt, but a system, a starting point you can come back to again and again. It starts with clarity. Clarity creates consistency. Consistency builds trust inside your business. And that's how you start to lead with intention instead of reaction. Because, friends, better systems build better workplaces.